YouTube. What's up? Chooch here. Um, Subject matter tonight: attendance. More specifically, attendance reviews. It's one of those things that if you've been around for a while, 19 years, um, never really came across those in my time. More or less up until 2 years ago, they started kind of having them. Maybe they've existed in your stations for years. Maybe it's part of the normal routine, but never really had them. But you know, if you want to say that that's a sign of the times and a sign of, more uh, attention to a problem in the post office with attendance in itself, and whether people decide, this is a hobby or if this is an actual job that you're supposed to come to when you're on the schedule, whatever it may be. Again, I'm open to criticism of whatever I say. I accept that people might not like what I say, but nonetheless, in those 19 years I've worked, I've got thousands of sick hours saved. Not thousands, okay. Call it plenty. Plenty to compensate for if something were to happen to me, because I go to work, and I drag myself in there sometimes, and I call out when I need to. More namely from my children than from myself. I've gone in there plenty of times where I felt like complete shit. I'm sure you have too. And I'm sure there's a feeling in you, depending upon who you are, that to say that you kind of like have this real apprehension built up in you to say that what will happen to me if I call out, like, something bad could happen, and it's like, you just, some people are born with that certain stigma, dedication, stupidity, whatever you want to call it. You can call it all three, whatever it may be. You know, I take my job seriously. I care very much about, showing that I care about my job by going to work and never taking advantage of a system that is kind of built to be taken advantage of. Been around a long time, so I hear the stories. Talk to a lot of carriers. Talk to my carriers in my chat group from all over the United States, and am sometimes just blown away at what I hear of what is considered, the weekly attendance, uh, issue in some places, as opposed to people who seem like, no, everybody's pretty good here and comes to work, but you never really hear a consistency of, yeah, everybody shows, and a couple people call out here and there, but my particular critique, my particular calling out of the hypocrisy of the idea that a great carrier who does his job diligently and shows up and might have these little things running around called children that are incubuses of viral plague, that are close to you and share the same space with you. There's one. He's hiding behind that couch right there. They get sick. They go to a place called school, and there's lots of other kids there, and they cough and they breathe and they touch everything, and they don't wash their hands. And we're all caught up in this, keep them clean and sanitize and everything like that. It's like, my we never got really sick as kids. I mean, we got a little bit here and there, but nowhere near at the alarming rate that kids seem to get sick now. And I think it's just because they don't build up their immune systems enough. But we were just caked in dirt and we were fine. Though we washed up when we needed to, but not every 10 seconds like it seems to be you have to do now. So, yeah, the attendance review and the idea that everyone is marched in one by one to your boss, your supervisor, your postmaster, wherever it may be, and you're looked maybe 6 months to a year further, call it a year, and to say that they're going to tell you how many sick days you had and they were unexcused, were they scheduled? Most of the time it's unscheduled leave, and you either have the distinction of saying that you were sick or one of your dependents, your kids, was sick, family, emergency, whatever it may be. There's all the stipulations of which kind of leave you're taking, but most of the time it's unexcused absence. And sometimes you're told you need the note. Sometimes you're told you need to know for one day. We all know that's bullshit, but sometimes that's what you're told. All kinds of good stories. But at the same time, again, I respect the idea that, your job's your job and you go to work when you're healthy, and, if people take that personal day, because they need it, then so be it. In this particular moment in time, I fully am on board with that. I'm not one to, I still really don't do that, but at the same time, I understand that if you're coming up at this particular moment, and you only got a little bit of time in it, and you're seeing what this place is all about, in terms of how they treat people, in terms of how you're intimidated, how you might be scared in some way, shape or form, but to just stand on, sit on the other side of that desk, or stand on the other side of that desk, and have the person who sits in a controlled environment all day, air conditioning, you know coffee, whatever, Wawa, whatever convenience store is right nearby that you can just conveniently walk over to for 20 seconds, and then come right back to your chair in your office in your controlled environment, while your workforce is out there freezing their asses off, sweating their asses off, in rickety old trucks that pretty much, like, have a probably half of a carbon monoxide issue coming out of some of them, and you're dodging cars, you're dodging people, you're doing everything you're lined up to do 6 days a week, for 47 weeks out of the year. If you happen to have 5 weeks of vacation, like you do at the top rate, then you're there for those other 47 weeks most of the time, minus maybe those 2, 3 call outs that you had because your kids got sick. And you know, think about that: 47 weeks, 6-day work weeks, forced against your will, average of 10 to 12-hour days. Can't call out sick. No, how dare you call out sick? And how dare you call out sick up against your drop day or your vacation day, or something like, which, again, intentional for some people, maybe. But, like, it's like staring into Medusa's eyes when they're telling you this, and you're sitting there saying, so I've been here 2 decades, put in my time, got a ton of sick time banked, and yet I still sitting here and am made to feel like, I got to watch myself with my sick time. Again, hypocrisy, the deterioration of just feeling good about going to work and thinking, like, what won't they think of next to bust my balls and to paint a picture of this place just continuously being this cesspool of, you know, intimidation and just, bitter, angry. And it's like, I still come in and it's like, hey, customer, how you doing? Good to see you. Have a great day. You know, block all that out for everything it's worth to go out and do your job and do it diligently. But man, it just sits up here, man, and again, yeah, here I am sitting in front of here, and I can't help but say, like, well, do I want to come home and tell my wife about this? Do I want to talk to my kids about this? Like, no, I want to talk to you, the postal workers, the people who are doing the job, the people who hear the same shit I'm talking about. And, it's just, you're just saying to yourself, God, postal management, like, why can't you just see through that simple thing? Like, go after the problem and stop making it communally the same thing all the time. It's, everybody becomes part of the problem. Like, I'm not part of. Again, I wish I could just bite my lip and move on with life, but and I've been doing very good at biting my lip. Believe me, very good at biting my lip in recent times. But in this particular thing, like with the subject of attendance and the subject of questioning, essentially questioning a person's work ethic to say, like, oh, well, this maybe was looks like a pattern or something like that, where I've seen people be told that there's a pattern, and I'm like, you called out like twice, and they're calling that a pattern, and then person B is disappearing on a regular basis like Houdini, and yet you know you're in the same category as them, you're lumped in. Post office, as always. So, yeah, that's that's as far as I want to go with it. I sure as shit could talk even more on it, but you tell me what you think, and like I said, open to anybody critiquing the idea that they think that obviously there should be more leeway given in certain instances. Like I will attest to saying that not every human is the same. Everybody's got different issues, different families, different set of genetics, whatever it may be. Some of us are born with health issues. Some of us develop health issues. For all that, to say that sick time is there to be used for when you're sick, and that's how I've abided by that all the time. But nonetheless, you still find yourself in that office being told that, like, watch yourself. So, as always, hang in there, folks. We're good. We got to do better. They got to do better for us to do better. All right. Talk to you soon. Have a good night.